I want you to join me and close your eyes. Relax, take a few deep breaths, and focus on nothing else but what I'm about to say. 1 month, $207 million. 1 month, $207 million. Now just go ahead and try to imagine $207 million sitting right in front of you. It would probably take up almost all of your room, all while being stacked taller than you are. It would take you quite some time to transport that money to the bank, much less spending it all. The number I have just presented you with is the total revenue from legal sports betting over 1 month in the state of Colorado. Only a month's work in Colorado has over $200 million spent on whatever they choose. I believe that if Georgia followed the track that so many other states are on and went ahead to legalize sports gambling, it would do a lot of good for the economy as well as the residents. Opening sports betting would generate thousands of jobs to casino workers and even more jobs services found inside the casinos, such as restaurants and vendors. With the states that have legalized sports betting, they are combining to bring in over $25 billion annually to the United States' overall GDP, and the states are estimated to bring in anywhere between $3.5 to $5 billion to put right back into the economy. Most of the time, sports gambling, as well as other forms of gambling, is thought to be an antisocial behavior reserved for degenerates and deadbeats, when in fact there are many positive effects that gambling has on people that participate, the states that allow it, and the casinos and sports books that place bets for the customers. No, I'm not saying that everyone wins in the end, but the positives heavily outweigh the negatives. My first point of discussion is legalization of sports betting generates great revenue. Over 20 states have legalized sports betting, and they all have similar ways of generating money from it. To come back to our old friend Colorado, the state taxes and collects 10% of all money that comes in and out of casinos on any given day. Say a casino receives $1 million in bets today. They now have $100,000 to invest in things such as affordable housing, education, and infrastructure. The idea of sin taxes has brought new life into the economy of Colorado. Sin taxes are taxes on goods or activities that could be considered harmful or undesirable. Colorado has another tax market that I'm sure we are all too familiar with, and that is the legalization of recreational marijuana. Much like legalizing marijuana and opening up dispensaries where customers can buy, sports betting is a lot safer in the casino rather than it being an underground operation. Dustin Goker, an analyst at the Legal Sports Report in Colorado, made a very interesting point in saying, much like smoking weed, people are going to gamble on sports no matter what. Why wouldn't we try to profit from both things? Overall, it is clear that states that have made sports betting legal have found great financial success from the revenues it generates from taxes. My second point of discussion is having stake in the game makes watching it more enjoyable. Having skin in the game makes a transition from background noise to having your undivided attention until the final whistle. Having a reason to watch games makes you cheer for something in every single game that you could ever want or think of. Think about the last time you made $500 in a day. Some of us haven't. Some of us have, but had to work long days with tough jobs. Now think about how satisfied you could be by making $500 by sitting on your couch enjoying a nice Sunday of NFL football. Odds are you would probably choose watching football for $500 instead of whatever task you did previously for the same amount of money. I'm lucky enough to have experienced a couple of wins this big and will never forget the feeling of euphoria I had when the money hit my account. Aside from the money, having people around you who bet on the same game makes the experience that much more enjoyable, especially if they chose the opposite of your bet. There's a sense of competition, not just between the teams that were bet on, but the bettors themselves. All in all, having extra skin in the game makes it more enjoyable for the viewers. Finally, gambling can be considered another source of income when used properly. Obviously, gambling can be detrimental to someone's income and lifestyle when used incorrectly, but they're not all like that. Some common misconceptions about sports gamblers is that they bet over their means, they can't enjoy watching a game when there's no money on it, and when they lose, they go broke every time and lose big. These common misconceptions are in fact not true. Sure, there are people out there like that, but most of the time people are sports gambling. It is simply to make the game more enjoyable to watch. Sports gambling shares many similarities with other popular form of gambling, and that's known as day trading. Yes, they are different, but there are many qualities and similarities that both find themselves entangled with these two entities. Both forms have a viewer risk potentially thousands of dollars to flip it and make it into a profit. So now I ask you, why is sports gambling so looked down upon? When someone says they're a day trader, there's a different connotation surrounding it. The main difference is that day traders bet on markets that they study and sports bettors bet on teams that they study. They are not that different after all. The way that I view it is that it is your money and you should be able to spend it on whatever way you see fit. Overall, I believe that there are many beneficial factors when discussing opening sports betting in Georgia. The economy and state and the people that lived here would all benefit tremendously from a new free market to tax upon. I presented that sports betting is not just reserved for degenerates and lowlifes, but for anyone who is trying to increase their bankroll by casually sitting on the couch watching games. I'm not advocating for everyone to begin or get into sports betting, but if you have enough money and enough knowledge on the game you're betting on, it can be a great financial investment.